Alright, so I wanted to give my thoughts on the Disney Plus show Hawkeye. Hawkeye is the fourth live-action show set in the MCU, technically the fifth overall since the What If show was an animated show. And of course it's about, you guessed it, Hawkeye! Now, I was pretty excited for this one. I really like Hawkeye a lot, always have since at least the first Avengers movie. Yeah, he had his brief cameo in Thor, but, you know, he was just kind of there. But I've always liked the character. I remember walking out of the first Avengers movie thinking he was super cool, wanting to see more of him, and I've just steadily just enjoyed him over time, over the course of the MCU movies. So this show, I'm going to try and give some non-spoiler thoughts first, and then, of course, get into more spoiler territory later on. Overall, I thought this was a fantastic show. It's probably my second favorite of the shows, my top one still being WandaVision, but then it's this one, then Loki, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I think all these shows are good. It's just the bottom two for me, like, Loki wasn't really what I was expecting it to be, and like, I just wasn't really into some of the ideas and concepts in that show. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier has definitely dropped a bit just the more that I've thought about it. Even though I did kind of praise some of, you know, like the messages and themes in that show, the more they've kind of sat with me, the more I'm just kind of like, it seems like they were putting in the bare minimum effort of having a message, but not really saying a whole lot with it. Especially Sam's do better speech at the end. Like, I don't know. It's something about him just like, I feel like you guys could have done a lot better with this. But overall, still a good show. But Hawkeye, loved it. In my opinion, really good. Thought a pretty solid story. A great introduction for Kate Bishop. Haley Steinfeld's great. There's some really cool stuff with Hawkeye. I thought the whole thing with him needing a hearing aid and being deaf just because of all the stuff he's gone through was really cool to see. There's some really solid action scenes, especially I feel like from episode 3 onward. Like in episode 3, there is a fantastic car chase. There's a pretty solid, you know, conspiracy mystery going on. You know, the show looked great. I actually enjoyed the Christmas setting a good bit because, hey, I like Christmas. There's a pretty cool twist or two in there and some neat surprises. And all around, the acting was pretty good. I can't really complain about anybody in the show that I can think of. Thought everyone was good. I know some very basic thoughts there, but overall, dug the show. Now this is where I'm going to start going into more spoiler-ish stuff. So obviously, if you don't want spoilers, don't watch or, you know, listen from this point on. I thought the show maybe started out a tad slow. I was still really into it, but the first 2 episodes are definitely a little on the slow side. Nothing bad. Like I said, once they escape from that warehouse, I feel like that's where the show really kicks in the gear. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of cool action scenes. Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner, I think their chemistry is really good. They play off of each other well. And again, a great introduction for Kate Bishop. I'm really excited to see where they take her story, especially once you find out that her mom is kind of the one behind everything, which I was a little suspicious of, but I kind of still didn't see coming, so that was definitely a surprise for me. To a point, for me, I do feel like this is kind of Hawkeye's real last thing. You know, I'm sure he'll continue to make an appearance here and there, but for the most part, I really feel like this is sort of his last big thing, if that makes any sense. For sort of the villains of the show, I enjoyed the tracksuits. Like, you know, they made me laugh here and there. I'm not gonna say that they were amazing or anything like that. They were solid henchmen. Maya, or as she's also known as Echo, was super cool. I really enjoyed her character. There were times where I feel like she kind of didn't have a whole lot to do. I liked her thing about wanting revenge against Ronan and then kind of figuring out he's responsible for the murders, but it's not necessarily him at fault just because you later find out Kingpin. And leading into that, obviously Kingpin is back. Was so hype at the end of episode 5 whenever he gets name dropped and you kind of see a picture of him. I let out the biggest yo that you probably could at like 2 a.m. or whatever it was when I was watching that episode. I was so hyped. And then of course combine that with spoilers for No Way Home here if you haven't seen it, but combine that with the fact that Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil, or at least back as Matt Murdock, just because he's not in the Daredevil costume in the movie. It just has me so excited. I really hope they do more, and yeah, it might not look particularly good for Kingpin at the end of the show, but I really don't think they're going to introduce him and then just off him like that. So for what we got with him, I liked him. You know, obviously I wish he had more to do, but I was pretty happy with what we got in the end. He had action scenes, super good. The car chase and using the trick arrows, like using the Pym arrow and it grows super huge. That was cool. And I loved the no cut 360 shot within the car. All of that was just really awesome. The fight on the rooftop with Hawkeye, Maya, Kate Bishop's like kind of trying to get over there, and then it's the big reveal with Yelena. All that was good. And God, how could I miss Yelena when talking about characters? She was so good. One of my favorites. Loved her in Black Widow. She's great. You know, obviously I love Natasha, but like since Yelena is definitely kind of being the replacement Black Widow, I guess you could say, no complaints. She's funny. I love her attitude. She's great. Florence Pugh completely nails the character. Love the scene where she's in Kate Bishop's, I guess, apartment and makes the mac and cheese, and they're talking about that. She's trying to be friendly while also kind of being threatening a little bit. Just, it was great. And then they're like, in the last episode, they're sort of like half fight, half complimenting each other thing. It was just a lot of fun. And I really like the scene where she learns what happened to Natasha and she finally accepts that Clint isn't responsible for it. I really like her character a lot. And honestly, I feel like this show had the best finale of the Disney Plus shows. Now, I don't really mind the finales like a lot of people seem to. Some people have been really bothered by how the other shows have ended. I haven't been too bothered, but like this one is probably the best for me. Because, you know, people complain that WandaVision just has a typical superhero ending, even though part of me's like, okay, who cares? Falcon and the Winter Soldier is definitely half-baked, and again, Sam's big speech at the end is just kind of like, thanks for not offering an actual solution. Just do better. Okay. Loki was fine, but I can definitely get behind people there. Just like, it was just half an hour of just talking, and I found a lot of the stuff interesting, and yeah, I can definitely listen to some really cool exposition all day and world building. Like, I heard complaints about the recent Dune movie being boring for people just because of all the talking and this and that, but I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, Loki, I will admit, it did seem kind of like, can we get on with this? But this one, you know, had, I thought, satisfying conclusions to characters and stories, character arcs, great action. I really can't complain a whole lot about it. Music in the show, pretty great too. Nothing, I say great, but like maybe nothing particularly stand out, but you know, good score and uses a lot of Christmas stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. And of course, during certain scenes, the Soul Stone theme popped up. At first, I remember I was like, am I hearing things? It's like, nope, yep, that's the Soul Stone theme. Always like to hear that one. That's a good piece of music, despite the fact of it being very sad and tragic. At this point, I feel like I'm maybe just sort of rambling a bit on just random things. So I'll kind of close this up. Again, I thought Hawkeye was really good. It's my second favorite of the MCU shows behind WandaVision, just because I was really into WandaVision. I thought it was a great story, and I love those characters. And I mean, pretty much the same here too. It's just if I had to pick one over the other, it's probably WandaVision, just because I was really into the whole mystery of what was going on. Overall, if I had to use the whole 1 to 10 scale, I'd honestly put Hawkeye at a 9. There's not too much else I can really say about it. It's a really good show, and I highly recommend checking it out. Like I said before, it can start out a tad slow. Once you hit episode 3, it really hits a stride. And even then, I was engaged with what was going on before that anyway, so that wasn't too much of a problem for me. It's just, I know some people had complaints about the first 2 episodes being a little slow. So tell me, what did you think of Hawkeye? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Why not? Type deal. And of course, with the 4 that have come out this year, how would you rank the live action Disney Plus shows? And of course, just overall, if you want to include What If as well, how would you rate all of the MCU Disney Plus shows? As always, if you could, please check out some of my other videos. Subscribe if you like what I do. And hey, how about you leave that thumbs up? It'd be pretty rad of you, my guy. Yeah, that's all I got for you this time. So, thanks for watching and have a good one.